Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast of Audio Game Association. I'm Marta, and today I'm here with Lorenzo Venturini. Hi, Lorenzo. How are you?
Hey Marta, I'm fine, thanks.
Lorenzo is a sound designer and he has worked for a lot of audio games by Audio Games Association. Well, today's episode is a little off topic. I mean, we're not talking about a specific audio game, but we're talking about music. In fact, we'll chat about making music for audio games and music in general. But let's start right away. Lorenzo, what have you studied? Which is your story?
I've always had passion that could be enclosed in the visual group. As a child, I drew a lot, and it's one of those things that I carried on until a few years ago. Then, during to the artistic high school, I became passionate about comics, and finally, to university, I chose to study graphic design at the Academy of Fine Arts of Bologna. In the second year, I found out the world of audiovisual performance, and from there, I also began to learn about sound. I followed a parallel sound design course, then I continued to experiment with mix between sound and image. 2 years ago, I started working at a live visual design studio where we design video content for artist concert. So music has become more important for me. I work on the tour of several artists like Coetz, Irama, Maneskin, Ultimo, and various festivals around Italy. I met even at the game design workshop he did in the academy. Before I even started working there, and I ended up editing the audio of many games, even made by the other teams. Then I continued to believe into the world of sound synthesis, following other online courses, then experiment with software and hardware.
Oh, wow, that's impressive. Well, now, how did you approach audio games then?
I was contacted by Ivan last year. I never heard about audio games before. For me, they were a test to put into practice what I have studied in the previous year. In fact, it was interesting to take care of both of the musical aspect and the sound effects. I started from the team. For Free Driver, the reference were Mad Max, Dirt Rock, Electronics, and 80s. From them, I collect a library of sound and put them together with Ableton, using many effects such as drive and various distortion.
Are there any differences between music and sound effects in audio games and music and sound effects in video games?
They certainly have a greater importance, especially the sound effect. They must be very precise to describe the environments well. Consequently, the use of reverbs become very important. While in a traditional video game, audio goes hand in hand with video, so I often soundly interpret what someone else produces visually. In audio game, each sound is positioned with extreme caution. They become as important in a parallel as in a stealth game, where even the distance of the noise of the footstep produced by the protagonist is of crucial importance.
What did you need to focus on while creating sound effects and music for an audio game?
I need a lot of stimulation and the desire to find the sound I liked best. I often do a lot of research, listening to reference, libraries, album, etc. The internet is perfect to find this. I can often find interesting ideas that stimulate me to experiment. In general, I get bored quickly, so I always try to try something different and maybe I have never tried before.
I have one last question for you, Lorenzo. How does the team work? I mean, do you collaborate? At which point is your job required?
I usually enter when the work is about halfway. There are already the levels, the concept, the story, and the characters. I generally relate to the game designers who explain to me how they had sound in mind. From there, I understand where I will be free to create and where more didactic sound will be needed. Then, as I produce the sounds, I relate to the programmers with whom we define how the sound must be assembled and which command they must be respond to. It's very important to communicate. Much of the work is done in a team, and it's good to know how to relate to those who will have to take over your work to bring the game to the publication.
Well, that's all. Thank you so much, Lorenzo, for being here. And thank you all for listening to this episode of the podcast of Audio Game Association. Today, with Lorenzo, we have started this off-topic part of the podcast of Audio Game Association. I'd like to know your thoughts and your suggestions. Let me know in the comments. And well, goodbye till next time. Bye.
Bye bye.